Imagine walking into a bustling mall, thinking it's just another day, only to be confronted with pure hate. Even Zendaya, a beloved icon, is not immune to such shocking encounters. Today, I'm going to tell you how a calm shopping day turned into a shocking confrontation fueled by racism, an incident that shook everyone witnessing it. Trust me, this story of Zendaya's courage will leave you stunned and inspired. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more eye-opening stories like this. Now let's dive in. Zendaya's days off were rare, a treasure amidst her whirlwind of shoots, fittings, and events. On this particular day, she had managed to carve out a little time for herself. In comfortable athleisure and shades that almost concealed her recognizable face, she made her way to a large shopping mall, craving a slice of normalcy. As she walked through the bright, spacious halls, glancing at different storefronts, a boutique on the top floor caught her eye. The display of shimmering jewelry and chic outfits promised both style and exclusivity. Zendaya decided to check it out, feeling lighthearted and excited. Entering the boutique, Zendaya was greeted by cold stares. She shrugged it off. Perhaps they didn't recognize her. However, as she made her way toward a necklace that had caught her attention, an elegant emerald piece, a trio of individuals positioned themselves in front of her, blocking her way. "Can we help you?" one of them sneered, a tall man with narrowed eyes. His voice was mocking, and his eyes trailed from her shoes to her hair with disdain. Zendaya kept her cool. "Actually, I'd like to see that necklace," she said politely, pointing towards the counter. The man chuckled, joined by a woman next to him who rolled her eyes dramatically. "I don't think that's for you," the woman said, her tone dripping with condescension. "You'd probably be more comfortable somewhere else. Maybe a store downstairs." Zendaya's heart sank, her breath hitching at the blatant hostility. The shoppers around had started to notice the exchange, their eyes darting toward her, some curious, others uneasy. She knew this feeling all too well, the dismissal, the judgment. But Zendaya wasn't the type to back down. "I think I'm comfortable right here," she responded, her voice steady, her eyes not leaving theirs. The tension in the boutique grew thicker as the racists exchanged glances, seemingly surprised at her defiance. "We're just saying," the man began, his smirk unfaltering. "People like you don't usually belong here." Zendaya stepped closer, her voice dropping but gaining a sharper edge. "People like me? You mean customers interested in buying jewelry?" She tilted her head, her calm demeanor carrying the weight of her anger. "Or are you implying something else?" Silence. The people around had now fully tuned in. A young girl clutching her mother's hand, an elderly couple peeking from behind a display stand. The air was electric, and the staff, previously ignoring the scene, now seemed caught between intervening and pretending nothing was wrong. The woman shifted uncomfortably. "Look, we don't want any trouble. Just leave, all right?" she muttered. Zendaya took a deep breath, her mind racing. This wasn't just about her. It was about everyone who'd ever felt out of place because of their skin color, who'd ever been treated as though they didn't belong. "No," she said firmly. "I won't leave until you understand something. What you're doing is wrong. Judging someone without knowing them, treating them differently because of how they look, that's racism. And it has no place here or anywhere else." The manager finally stepped out, his face pale. "Ma'am, I'm so sorry," he started, his eyes wide with panic, clearly aware of who she was now. We'll handle this situation. Please, there's no need to make a scene." Zendaya looked at him, her gaze piercing. "This isn't a scene. This is a conversation we need to have. You can apologize, but the damage is already done. Maybe you should think about why people like this feel comfortable working here." With that, she turned on her heel and walked out, her head held high. Behind her, the murmurs had grown louder. People whispering about what they just witnessed, some filming the exchange on their phones. As Zendaya exited the boutique, she could hear the soft cheers from a few onlookers, a small but powerful recognition of her courage. Zendaya walked through the mall, her thoughts still racing. She felt the sting of what had just happened, but also the determination to turn it into something positive. She decided to take a moment to collect herself, finding a quiet corner of the mall where she could sit and gather her thoughts. As she sat down, she noticed a young girl approaching her, her eyes wide with admiration. "Excuse me," the girl said shyly. "I just wanted to say that I think you're really brave. My mom and I saw what happened, and we think you did the right thing." Zendaya smiled, her heart warming at the girl's words. "Thank you," she said gently. "It means a lot to hear that. Always remember, no matter what anyone says, you belong wherever you want to be." The girl nodded, her face lighting up with a smile before she hurried back to her mother, who gave Zendaya a grateful nod from a distance. Zendaya watched them walk away, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. This was why she spoke up, not just for herself, but for everyone who needed to hear that they were worthy. As she continued through the mall, Zendaya noticed more people giving her nods of support, some even stopping to thank her for standing up. It was a small ripple, but she could feel the impact growing. She knew that moments like this, though painful, were opportunities to spark change, to make people think twice about their actions and biases. Later, as she was about to leave the mall, Zendaya spotted a group of teenagers gathered near the entrance. They were whispering and pointing at her, clearly debating whether or not to approach. She gave them a small wave, and that was all the encouragement they needed. "Zendaya, can we get a picture?" one of them asked, their voices filled with excitement. Zendaya nodded, her smile genuine. "Of course," she said, taking the time to chat with them and pose for a few photos. As they talked, one of the teenagers, a young black boy, spoke up. "What you did back there, it was amazing," he said, his voice a mix of awe and gratitude. "People need to see that. We need more of that." Zendaya placed a hand on his shoulder. "Thank you. And remember, it's not just about me. We all have the power to stand up. Don't ever let anyone make you feel like you don't belong." That night, Zendaya posted about the encounter on her social media. She didn't name the store, nor the people, but she spoke clearly about the experience, about how racism continues to rear its ugly head even in places one might not expect. The response was overwhelming: millions of likes, hundreds of thousands of comments, and an avalanche of support from her fans and fellow celebrities. "Today I was reminded of how far we still have to go," she wrote. "But I also realized how important it is to stand up, to call out hate, and to keep fighting for a world where everyone belongs. To everyone out there who's ever felt less than because of someone else's ignorance, you are not alone. We are stronger together, and we're not backing down." The post immediately went viral, with thousands of people sharing their own stories of discrimination and how they had fought back. Fellow celebrities like Viola Davis, John Boyega, and Yara Shahidi chimed in, expressing their solidarity and sharing their own experiences. Zendaya's fans flooded the comments with words of encouragement and gratitude, many sharing their own stories of discrimination. The next day, news outlets picked up the story, and it became a topic of national conversation. Discussions about racism in retail spaces, implicit bias, and the importance of standing up against injustice were sparked across social media and news channels. Zendaya's bravery had turned a painful experience into a powerful movement, one that encouraged others to speak up and demand better. A week later, the boutique released a statement, apologizing for the incident and promising to implement anti-bias training for their employees. It was a small step, but it was progress. Zendaya knew that real change wouldn't happen overnight, but she was committed to using her platform to keep pushing for it. Zendaya's courage in the face of such blatant hate was a powerful reminder. Racism is alive, but so is resistance. And as long as people continue to stand up, there is always hope for change. Moments like these were not just about the confrontation itself, but about what came after, the ripples that spread, the conversations that started, and the people who found the strength to stand up because they saw someone else do it first. As Zendaya sat in her living room that evening, her dog Noon curled up at her feet, she felt a sense of calm wash over her. The city lights of Los Angeles twinkled in the distance, and she knew that the fight was far from over. But for today, she had done her part. She had stood her ground. She had spoken her truth, and she had made a difference, no matter how small. And that, she realized, was how real change started. One voice at a time, one stand at a time, until the world finally began to listen.